here on 3FM 92.7. We come to you live from our studios here at Adesawe Kanda in Accra and our numerous affiliates across the country. Also live on all our social media platforms. Coming up this afternoon, Bank of Ghana expresses grave concerns over increasing involvement of the bank and CDI employees in fraudulent activities as the 2024 report reveals. Over 150 bank staff were dismissed for fraud. Also this afternoon, Overlord for Dagbon, Yana Abukari II, appeals to the striking doctors at the Tamale Teaching Hospital to suspend their industrial action.
The recent crisis in the hospital caused by the unavailability of essential supplies and equipment has brought untold suffering to those who depend on your expertise.
Plus, Minister for Education asks newly inaugurated committee to see to the cancellation of teacher licensure examination to also consider resolving issues regarding promotion of teachers. We have details of these and many more stories coming up in the next 30 minutes. Do stick and stay. My name is Judith Brown. Again, welcome to the bulletin. We start from here. At least 155 staff of banks and specialized deposits taking institution were dismissed in 2024 for their involvement in fraudulent activities amounting to some 99 million cedis. While the latest from the annual fraud report from the Bank of Ghana BOG revealed the figure marks a 13% increase in such cases, prompting the demand for banks to intensify internal controls and strict authentication of customers. Well, joining us now from our research desk is Wisdom Safo with deeper insights into the figures. Wisdom, tell us, what have you been learning from the report?
Okay, so in the period of 1st January 2024 and December 31st, 2024. Now, the total cases that were reported in this report was 16,733 for the year 2024. Now, this figure is up from 15,865 in 2023. So, 2024 figure was 16,733, and it's a 5% increase from last 2 years figure. Now, looking at the institutions that were involved, banks alone recorded around 716 fraud cases. So, 716 fraud cases was reported in 2024, and for the specialized deposit taking institution, the SDIs, 344 cases were recorded in the year 2024. Now, for the payment service provider, the PSPs, about 15,673 cases were recorded, and that was up by 7% from 14,655 in 2023 as well. So 2024 figure for the PSPs is 15,673. Now, the money involved, the total funds at risk here, we are talking about 99 million Ghana cedis alone in 2024, and this figure is up by 13% from 2023, which 2023 actually recorded 88 million Ghana cedis. Now, for the fraud types, if you look at the types of the fraud, we have forged documents, identity theft, cash thefts. Right. So all of these were the details that were recorded in the report.
Okay, now what directives has the Bank of Ghana issued to financial institutions in response to these developments?
Okay, so the Bank of Ghana has, directed these institutions to conduct regular events such as forums and discussions to create a culture of security and awareness among the staffs and customers. Also, they want the institution to implement a dual control mechanism to, as a mandatory way to rotate staff and look at the staff, meet them at their point of need. Maybe some people engage in these things because of maybe their financial struggles. Look at how ways and means they will try and solve these personal challenges as well. And they want them to effectively collaborate with law enforcement agencies and other stakeholders in event of fraud so that they ensure that these perpetrators are brought to justice. Judith.
Right, many thanks for your time. Wisdom Safo is a key member of our research desk. He has been bringing us details on that particular report. But let's bring in a fraud expert, Richard Kumado. He's joining us on phone for more details on this. Good afternoon, sir. Now, what factors contribute to the sharp rise in forgery and document manipulation cases?
One of them is what you spoke about, internal control failure. The other one the report did not capture predominantly is the compliance lapses. And To the extent that you have internal control failure and compliance is also on the low, the automatic rise will be financial crime. And they have split it into various dimensions. I have been teaching at the banking college from 2009 to about 2022. Many of these cases will be rising also as a result of not doing the proper background checks on the people the banks have employed. Then the last one, which is key, is motivation and remuneration of workers. Once they go to the same market and the disparity in the payment structure, particularly those who work as contract staff, if they are not taken care of properly, then the tendency of balancing the books could be high. So these are about 4 to 5 areas the banks and the financial sector is that we need to look at.
Right now, Mr. Kumado, how can these banks and special deposit-taking institutions improve fraud detection to reduce these losses?
One of them is to have the right people at the right places. Over the years, we have lost some of the great guys we have trained and placed them in the banks, the anti-fraud specialists and financial crime prevention specialists. To that extent, they will need to work hard to build capacity of such category of people. One of the other category the banks have lost is that many of our guys who are specialists in compliance have left the shores of this country. And these two are the key areas the banks need, even if internal audit fails. Internal control, compliance need to be on their toes to ensure that the back office operations are taken care of. Then again, they will also need to look at standardizations when it comes to transaction monitoring. Many of the transactions they are getting involved now are becoming a bit more complex, and they need to look at these 3 aspects. If they do that, prosecution has always been a challenge for them, and that is why many of the crimes or the fraud that occur will not be reported because of reputational issues. I'm happy they say they should liaise with the law enforcement agencies. There used to be a critical issue when law enforcement agencies fail in determining prosecution charges against people who commit crime and fraud. So in my days in banking, and when I was active in the prevention industry, we selected certain police stations and equipped them as part of the social corporate responsibility of the bank. It has helped gradually. I don't know what has happened to that drive, and they would need to look at it again.
Right, but if you can explain to us really, why is recovering stolen funds so difficult? Mr. Kumado, can you hear me? Well, unfortunately, we lost Mr. Richard Kumado on the line. He is a fraud prevention expert. He has been bringing us more details on this particular issue. But we're going to move on to some more stories, or still on this. The King of Dabon in Dana, Yana Abukari II, has appealed to the Doctors Association of Doctors at the Tamale Teaching Hospital to suspend their strike for the sake of humanity. According to the King, though the actions of the doctors are justifiable, he entreated them to consider the many sick persons whose lives are at stake as a result of the actions. Sabana Yakubu is spokesperson to the Yaya.
The recent crisis in the hospital caused by the unavailability of essential supplies and equipment has brought untold suffering to those who depend on your expertise. So we acknowledge the depth of your concerns and the hurt caused by the recent unannounced visit to your facility by the Health Minister. We understand that an apology from the Minister of Health could be a crucial step towards healing and rebuilding trust. As a neutral facilitator, we will convey your concerns to the Minister and encourage him to take the necessary steps to address your grievances. However, we implore you to consider the lives that hang in the balance. The cessation of emergency services has far-reaching consequences, and we fear for the well-being of those who cannot afford to wait.
Well, you heard there the spokesperson to Yana Zabana Yakubu. We're going to go on a short commercial break. When we're back, we have more news for you. Do stay.
Hello, Ghana. It's a new year and Bills Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business, don't let money stop you. With just your Ghana card, you can get a loan to turn your ideas into reality. Already running a business? Need more capital? Or are you a salary worker looking for extra funds? Bills offers fast and easy loans with no collateral, no deposit, and no SUSI savings required. Wherever you are, whatever you need, Bills makes it happen. Call Bills Microcredit today. Call 0596 920 833 or 0302 200 390 and get started. Bills is licensed and regulated by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. You're still listening to the Midday News right here on 3FM 92.7. Let's do some more stories now. The Ghana Armed Forces, GAF, has responded to two viral videos circulating on social media which falsely claim that the Chief of the Army Staff, Major General Lawrence Kweku Betanu, was attacked in Boko. Now, in a statement, GAF strongly refuted the claims described with the content of the videos as completely false and urging the public to disregard them. According to the statement, the Chief of the Army Staff's operational visit to Boko on Wednesday, 23rd April 2025 was successful and without incident. Investigations are currently underway to trace the source of the misleading videos, and those found responsible will face the full rigors of the law. Now, JAF is cautioning bloggers, content creators, and media professionals to exercise caution and responsibility in reporting on military operations, particularly in sensitive areas like Boko. The armed forces warned that deliberate misinformation or disinformation could escalate tensions and jeopardize ongoing efforts to restore peace. They are calling on all stakeholders to support the drive towards lasting peace and normalcy in Boko and its surrounding areas. Now, let's do some education now. And the Minister of Education, Haruna Idrisu, has assured the academic community that university lecturers will be exempted from the government suspension of post-retirement contracts in the public sector. He made this announcement during the inauguration of the newly constituted governing board of the University of Ghana in Accra. In addition, the minister revealed that the government has secured 50 million Ghana cedis as seed funding to support the implementation of the National Research Fund.
Let me assure you that it does not affect persons in academia, and you are entitled to that exemption, that we recognize that you are a rare breed in our country and we protect those rare species. Therefore, this post-contract beyond 60 years, even though constitutional provision does not affect members of academia in the country. He's also asked me to convey to you that this year he intends operationalizing the National Research Fund, and accordingly an amount of 50 million Ghana cedis has been allocated for the takeoff of the National Research Fund. I should be inaugurating its board and council in the next couple of weeks to support one of your areas of emphasis, research.
Meanwhile, they've also asked the newly inaugurated committee to see to the cancellation of teacher licensure examination to also consider resolving issues regarding promotion of teachers. This directive follows growing concerns from teacher unions over delays in promoting qualified education directors. Union leaders have expressed strong dissatisfaction, noting that many deserving educators remain in limbo despite meeting all requirements. The minister stressed the urgency of the matter, emphasizing that all issues affecting teacher promotions must be resolved without further delay.
But I need professional advice on this matter. That is why I'm putting this committee together to advise most appropriately how to walk through a transition from a licensure exam regime to annul licensure exams, what would be the appropriate alternative? In our manifesto again, it was our pledge to incorporate it into the curriculum of teacher training institutions, academic, that it becomes part of their curriculum. Does that resolve the matter in a manner which defines you as professionals? I want the committee to advise me again on this matter. But with further advice, I want to say that one last opportunity of a receipt of the licensure exams for those who couldn't make it the last time must also be part of your recommendations. What do we do? Do we offer them an opportunity of a receipt? I don't want to prejudice your work, but I think that may be a problematic necessity.
Well, Anti-Galamsey Advocacy Group, the Generational Rights Protection Society, is set to proceed with their protests on Monday, April 28, 2025, after the Ghana police withdrew their injunction suit against the planned march at the Accra High Court on Friday morning. The group is demanding a clear blueprint regarding the fight against illegal mining after citing failure by successive governments to curb the phenomenon. Pia Kubi Kwame is convener of the group.
To thank all of you very much for your contribution so far. We have said that we are law-abiding citizens, and so at any point in time, we are going to comply fully by what our laws stipulate. Now, yesterday, the police administration at the Accra region called us into a meeting, and then to our surprise, they ambushed us with court suit, trying to frustrate the processes against our planned demonstration. Indeed, we abide by the suit. We were supposed to appear before the Accra High Court, Criminal Court 5, this morning at exactly 9 o'clock. We were here together with a team of our lawyers. Now, fortunately for us, when we came, the High Court has striked out the suit for which the police administration filed against us. We were simply saying that they were not going to allow us to mass up in front of the Jubilee House, which is around the Liberation Square. We have said to them that we disagree with them on that contest because there is nowhere, specifying that that particular enclave is a security zone, and for that reason we cannot assemble at the point of ending our demonstration. They challenged us, and we said yes, indeed, if you want to challenge us, the Public Order Act is very clear. It is only the court that can determine this, and we believe that upon the engagement we had with them, they decided to go ahead with the court processes. But interestingly, the High Court has thrown out and struck down their case, and so everything we have planned from day one is still on course. We are very much focused. At this point in time, we will only invite all Ghanaians, the churches, the mosques, the civil society groups, the youth who are mostly affected about the things we are doing today, and then the future generation who do not yet have the mouth to even advocate for themselves, that today let's come on board and then speak against Galamsey with one voice. Because today, if you believe you live in Accra, and for that matter you are not concerned or bothered about this whole thing happening, then tomorrow it will affect your child. Definitely your extended family, one or two of them, will definitely be affected. We are not saying that we are against mining, no. But if indeed we want to do mining, and indeed we want our economy to benefit from mining, there are so many better ways for which we can do mining without destroying our water bodies.
Now let's head back to the north. Earlier we heard the spokesperson to the YANA. They were appealing to the Doctors Association at the Tamale Teaching Hospital to suspend their strike for the sake of humanity. Well, our correspondent Christopher Mwako is joining us via phone for more details. Chris, we know that they were in a meeting of some sort. Has that meeting ended, and have the doctors agreed to resume work?
Yes, so Judith, the meeting is still in session. Earlier, there was a general meeting that involved the media, where the media was briefed on the visit of the representatives from the Yanes Palace, and their visit was very simple to see how they can mediate the issue between the aggrieved doctors and the health minister, such that they will reconsider their decision and get back to post. And so the meeting now that is ongoing is between the delegation and the Doctors Association of TTH. And so that is yet to end. But we are hopeful that by close of day, something positive will come out of this meeting.
What has management been saying?
Yes, management has been admonishing the aggrieved doctors to reconsider their decision as well. They have also been calling on them to, as it were, consider the lives of the many people who visit the facility to seek medical attention. Let's take a listen to what the representatives of the overlord of Dagbo, Diana Bukari II, and management of the hospital have been saying.
Well, we'll bring that sound much later. But before you go, really tell us about the general atmosphere, what it is looking like, especially now that today is day 2 of the strike by these doctors.
Yeah, so today visiting the hospital looks virtually empty. You go to the OPD, you go to the accident and emergency unit. These are areas that we get a lot of people visiting on daily basis. Unfortunately, today the place looks virtually empty, with people who come to seek medical attention being turned away to go to other health facilities because of the suspension of these critical services by the medical doctors.
Well, many thanks for your time. Christopher Mwako is our Northern Regional Correspondent. He has been bringing us all the details as regards to that strike by doctors at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. We're going to keep tabs on that particular topic and bring you more details in our subsequent bulletins. But let's do some health now. And Ghana today has joined the global community to commemorate World Malaria Day under the theme, Malaria Ends With Us, Reinvest, Reimagine, Reignite. Despite years of sustained malaria prevention and controlled efforts, the disease remains a major public health and socioeconomic challenge in the country. Ghana is among 15 highest burdened malaria countries globally, and currently about 9 in every 100 Ghanaians are living with malaria. The WHO highlighted key challenges threatening progress, including funding gaps, while global investment in malaria stood at $4 billion in 2023. It falls far short of the $10 billion needed annually. Key stakeholders, health workers and policy makers are present at the event to reaffirm their commitment to eliminating malaria in Ghana. Let's listen to Dr. Sally Anohene. She's an officer in charge of the World Health Organization country office in Ghana.
And the expansion of the malaria vaccine into 43 additional districts. These achievements reflect our collective commitment. They have saved lives, protected futures, and brought us closer to the vision of a malaria-free Ghana. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all funding partners and all stakeholders who have contributed to this accomplishment.
You heard there Sally Ann giving us details on this World Malaria Day. Let's do some more stories, this time in the Ashanti region. Despite warnings from city authorities against reconstructing the Doom Blue Light Market pending a final decision, some traders have defiantly resisted the directive. In a swift response, the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, KMA, has taken steps to stop the rebuilding efforts. Well, the Assembly has warned that traders who will build without authorization would be dealt with. Ibrahim Abubakar joins us with the latest updates. Ibrahim, what really is happening there in the market now?
Well, the traders, like rightly mentioned, started with the rebuilding process, but as we speak, they have been stopped. They are complaining that it's been over a month since the fire incident, and they've not heard anything concrete from city authorities as to whether they have to continue with their trading activity there or not. And they said they've been home for a number of days and they are hungry, and for that matter, they need to return to business. So that's how come they started with the rebuilding process. But KMA2 is saying that no, for now they cannot allow them to do the building or continue with the rebuilding process because investigations are still ongoing and that land itself is now back to Menchia. So they are just waiting on the orders of the Asantine as to whether they should even start with any project there or stop. And even with that, if they are to rebuild the market there, then they will not allow them to do it the way they did it the last time, apparently without access. This time around, they will structure it well. So that has been the concern. And they are also even putting the blame on the New Patriotic Party, the leadership of the New Patriotic Party, because they said that they've been there and they are presenting the traders with building materials when final determination has not even been done. If they give them relief item, it's okay, but to give them building materials means that you are encouraging them to start with the rebuilding process, and they have to wait on the orders of Otumfuo. Let's listen to what the Kumasi Mayor, Richard Akwesibwe has been telling us.
The land belongs to Otumfuo. Something has happened. We are waiting for him to come, so we will submit reports to him. And then the MPP sidesteps the instructions and the direction of Otumfuo. And the authority of the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly and is urging them to do that which is happening. And I believe that they are the ones who are causing all this one, but we are firm. We barricaded the place yesterday. They are going to demolish it. I'm sure all of us do not want to sleep at night. I'm sure all of us will not want to sleep. I don't want to have confrontations. So, myself and my management, we are looking at our best. But see, nobody's been given any permit to reconstruct the building there. If you reconstruct it one day, if you are keeping a property in there one day, you will come and the structure will not be there. That's a crime scene. Investigations are being conducted by the Ghana National Fire Service. Yes, it's not complete. Let everybody there stop any activity that is being done without any proper authorization or permit by the KMA. I want to report the outcome of the various investigations to the king, and I would want to take instructions from Otumfuo on what to do over there before we take any step.
Well, you had the Kumasi Mayor. Ibrahim, I'm sure you're still on the line with me. If you can tell us really what is the reaction of these traders to this, the directive from the Assembly and the warning?
Well, clearly they are not happy. In fact, the information or the observation I've seen is that even though the KMA is in constant touch with the leadership of the traders, the message is not trickling down to the members, so they are not even aware of any such arrangement. They are just hoping that now that the Asantini has returned to Kumasi, he was out for a couple of weeks. Now that he has returned, they are just hoping that the report will be presented to him and he will come out with his recommendation as soon as possible. In fact, that's what the KMA has also been waiting for, and maybe in the couple of days, that recommendation will come as to whether even a market should be reconstructed there or that land will even be used for any other activity. So they are not happy and they are descending on their leadership. So now KMA is also trying to adopt a new strategy of engaging directly with the members so that they will re-strategize and use the top-bottom approach for everybody to understand what is going on.
Right, many thanks for your time. Ibrahim Abubakar is Ashanti regional correspondent. He's been bringing us details on the latest details, actually, on the Edum Blue Light Market and reconstruction that is set to happen there. That's how we wrap up the midday news right here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Judith Brown. A pleasure coming to you. Do stay tuned. Business News is up next.
Accra, Ghana, Africa, and worldwide. Join us on Inspirational Gospel Mix this and every Sunday, 8 p.m.
3 FM.
What is your favorite scripture?
Well, my favorite scripture is Romans 8:28, and it says, all things work together for...
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3 FM.
Hello there, good afternoon, and welcome to Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7 with me, Michael Obudu. Coming up, Bank of Ghana urges tougher controls and prosecutions as staff involvement in bank fraud cases rises by 33% in 2024, with at least 155 dismissed. Also, Africa Center for Energy Policy ASEP urges government to outline clear plan for raising $600 million needed to operate the Daman mine. And the Ghana Stock Exchange gains traction as Treasury Bill rates fall below inflation. We'll hear from finance and investment expert Nelson Kujoku-Agbeji prompting caution.
There are only two sources of return when investing in the stock market: appreciation of the value of the stock, and also when dividends are paid. The stock market, their return is variable because it's also dependent on the performance of the listed company.
My name is Michael Obudu. I'll bring you details of our top stories and more. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for your time. Straight into our top story. Staff involvement in fraud across Ghana's financial institutions surged by 33% in 2024, with 365 employees implicated and 155 dismissed. The Bank of Ghana is urging banks and specialized deposit-taking institutions to tighten controls and prosecute offenders to curb the growing threat. The following 3 Business News Desk report has the details.
The Bank of Ghana is raising alarm over the rising involvement of staff in fraudulent activities across banks, specialized deposit-taking institutions, SDIs, and payment service providers. According to the 2024 fraud report, 365 staff were implicated in fraud-related cases, up from 274 in 2023, representing a 33% increase. Of those involved, 75% were implicated in cash theft or suppression cases, slightly down from 77% recorded the previous year. The report also shows that 155 staff were dismissed by banks and SDIs, with more than half, specifically 83, linked directly to cash theft-related fraud. The central bank says it is concerned about the steady rise in staff involvement in such incidents and is urging financial institutions to reinforce internal controls, enhance due diligence during staff recruitment, and strengthen in-house training on ethical conduct. It is also calling on banks and SDIs to ensure the prosecution of culprits to serve as a deterrent. Meanwhile, of the 83 million cedis fraud value at risk in 2024, only 3 million, representing 4%, was recovered, bringing the net value at risk to 80 million. This partial recovery, according to the report, was made possible through stakeholder collaboration and improved fraud mitigation measures.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report. The Africa Center for Energy Policy, ASEP, is calling on government to outline a clear plan for raising the $600 million needed to operate the Daman mine. This follows the decision not to renew the mining lease of Goldfields, the current operator. The move was later revised with a 1-year extension granted to facilitate a smooth transition under a proposed joint government company management arrangement. Policy lead for mining and minerals at ASEP, Eliasu Ali, says while the update is welcome, government must recognize the financial and operational demands of the mining sector.
Compared to the initial abrupt decision to not renew it from that instance, we think the window of a year to have conversations around it is plausible. What we do think, however, in terms of the eventual uptake of the concession in terms of the ownership aspirations of government is what we really have further questions in terms of the capital requirements of the projects, and also we are not very clear exactly how government intends to fund the projects, because we have indications that the project requires still significant investments to sustain its operations in excess of some 600 million USD, and we are not sure government has communicated exactly how it intends to fund this.
Ilyasu Ali is the policy lead for mining and minerals at the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP. Now, the Ghana Stock Exchange is increasingly being viewed as an attractive investment destination as yields on treasury bills continue the downward trend, now falling significantly below the current inflation rate of 22.4% at an average yield of 16.76%. This development is prompting investors to seek potentially higher returns on the equity market. Finance and investment expert Nelson Kujo-Kwagbeji notes that with fixed income returns diminishing in real time due to inflation outpacing them, the GSE offers a viable alternative for investors looking to preserve and grow their capital.
There are only two sources of return when investing in the stock market, and that is the capital gains, appreciation of the value of the stock, and also when dividends are paid. The stock market, their return is variable because it's also dependent on the performance of the listed company. Ghana Stock Exchange is actually doing 20.61% returns in terms of dollar. The Tunisian index is also doing 13.3% year to date. The Johannesburg Stock Exchange is doing 8.55%. The Egyptian 30, the index that measures the top 30, listed companies on the Egyptian Stock Exchange is 8.26%. Now, when you go to La Bourse Régionale des Valeurs Mobilières en Côte d'Ivoire, they are doing 8%. Then when you go to the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the all-share index, they are doing 2.61% in terms of dollar. So you see clearly that the Ghana Stock Exchange, as at the end of the first quarter, is the best performing market in Africa.
You hear the finance and investment expert Nelson Kujo-Kwagbeji speaking. Now, government is gearing up for its upcoming auction with a target of 6.14 billion cedis. This figure is slightly lower than the target set for last week's auction, signaling a potential complex approach to government borrowing. Last week, government targeted 6.6 billion cedis but was able to raise 4.62 billion cedis. There is more in this report.
Market analysts anticipate that government will continue its current strategy of heavily relying on short-term domestic instruments to meet its financing needs. This expectation comes amidst cautious investor sentiment, particularly concerning longer-term maturities. The prevailing market conditions suggest that investors are exhibiting a preference for shorter-dated securities, likely due to prevailing economic uncertainties and a desire for quicker returns. The results from the previous auction, held on April 17, 2025, offer insights into the current yield environment. Yields across the spectrum of available instruments experienced marginal movements. Notably, the yield on the widely watched 91-day bills remained steady at 15.45%. Meanwhile, the 182-day bill witnessed a slight decrease in yield, settling at 16.21%, a dip from the 16.81% recorded in the preceding week. Similarly, the 364-day bill also saw a marginal downward adjustment, with its yield falling to 18.62% compared to the previous week's 18.65%. The cautious investor sentiment toward longer-term maturities may influence the government's borrowing strategy, with a focus on short-term instruments to meet its financing needs. The outcome of the April 25 auction will be closely watched for signs of market trends and investor confidence.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report, bringing an end to Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, please visit our website at 3news.com/business. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe. Up next is Urban Blend, and Black Rasta is on standby. Stay tuned.